Tune in, geek out. It's Mythkeepers O'Clock. Hello, and welcome to Mythkeepers. We are your hosts. I'm Scott, and joining me as always, he's been skinny dipping in some pools of starlight. It's Zachy boy.
Oh my god, dude! It just feels so good with all the stars and galaxies caressing my
your taint,
plump body. Yes, that too. Yes,
your plump
my
what?
supple taint.
Hell yeah, brother! Those stars and galaxies feel amazing on the undercarriage, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. How are you doing, pal?
I'm doing as good as I said I was doing 10 minutes ago. We were chatting.
Oh, we were chatting, and if you want to hear our chatting, that is now Patreon exclusive. So go check out the Patreon. That is patreon.com/mythkeepers. Patreon.com/mythkeepers.
One more time.
Patreon.com/mythkeepers.
Also
/mythkeepers. This is cameo from why I could have never.
I never know what movie it is. I just know it's Nick Cage.
It's Nick Cage. Yeah. Hey, check out our website too, mythkeeperspod.com. Check us out on the socials at Mythkeepers. I'm just gonna go ahead and throw in the plugs right here. Now.
Dude. Do the
Let's
thing.
just do it. You gave me too good of a segue not to. So we do our little banter before we start. We talk about what we've been up to. We're talking about games, movies, books we've been reading, and sorry to burst the people who loved that before bubble, but that's now exclusive material. So
yeah,
go join
the
Patreon.
Come be a part of that if you guys want to stay in the loop with what we're doing.
If you don't give a shit
Patreon,
and you only want to hear the ACOTAR discussion, that's cool too. You know, we like you too.
That's totally. I mean,
you can stay a filthy common. That's fine. You know, we'll allow it.
Ooh, is that the thing? So if they're listeners but not Patreon subscribers, they're the filthy commons?
They'd be like, yeah, what would the Patreons be then? They're just like half-washed commons.
They're the creepers, dude, because they get to see into our life.
Yeah, true.
The Myth Creepers.
The Myth Creepers. I do like Myth Creepers. It's
Myth
very
Creepers
funny.
is good, man.
All right. Well, we have a lot to talk about, Zach. This is chapters 9 through 18 of A Court of Thorns and Roses. Was there anything else we need to do before we jump in? Get
I don't
comfy,
think
maybe?
so.
Okay.
I think we're ready to go, man. This, I just gotta say.
Okay, yeah, hit me.
Yeah,
just gotta start. We're here for.
Start it off here. I have been so pleasantly surprised with, one, how easy it is to read this book. But two, how much just kind of like honest joy I'm having reading it. So I think you're gonna hear a little bit of that in my notes as we talk about these chapters. But
I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be honest with you, Zach. I 100% agree. I was just like, I wanted, when we got done with chapter 18. I was like, shit, I have to stop. Yeah. I wanted to keep reading, man.
I also, because I'm doing the audiobook, I also noticed that there's only like 5.5 hours left.
Oh, wow. Really?
And I'm like,
how many hours in
I'm sorry, what?
Because did we do a terrible job of splitting this up?
No.
Okay.
No, I mean, we just did it by chapter numbers, by amount of chapters. Obviously,
but are all the chapters from here on out like 3 paragraphs?
Maybe, I don't know.
Who knows?
Whatever.
Because there's a lot happens in this section. Like we might be here a while, so strap us on, Daddy. Snug those earbuds in tight. We're probably gonna be here for a minute. I have a lot to talk about. Zach,
I
first,
do as well.
First, why don't you? Where did we leave off? Where were we? What was going on?
Yeah. So, so
if you don't have it, I can.
Yeah, I mean, I've got my notes from last episode.
Okay.
Feyre steals the knife from the dinner, like table.
Mm-hmm.
Tamlin extends his condolences to Feyre about learning of her mother's death.
Right.
And she's just still super skeptical of like her position and like time there. And is doing her best to try and like plot her escape. And she has a new plan that she is trying to put into act, which is to try and convince Lucian,
right,
to convince Tamlin.
Right. Her new plot is, hey, let me get Lucian on my team, on my side.
Yeah, and I've got to say, at the end of I should have said this last episode, there was a part of me in the back of my head that I was like, is she gonna bang Lucian? I definitely thought it was like a Tammy boy thing, which I think that's the case now.
Yeah. little bit, maybe a smidge.
But yeah, I thought, I was like, is that gonna come out of left field and it's gonna be like she's gonna have like a quick little hoorah? But I don't know. Still could happen.
I don't think so.
Yeah, probably not.
I think she's doing just fine without banging Lucian. All right. So to start chapter 9, my first note is that Feyre just can't stop noticing how hot Tam is. Like every other sentence is just like, this dude is ripped as hell and just gorgeous. He's trying real hard to be nice to her, and that continues. That's kind of a theme of most of this. Not always succeeding, but he's trying.
Lucian is?
No, Tam is.
I think that Tam is just generally like a proper guy. That's the feeling I get.
No, for sure. He's also, and he says as much later, but he's not the best at communicating with people. Like, he's a warrior, you know? So he's trying. He's like when he tried to compliment her, which was very funny last time.
Yes.
But she's just not having. Feyre is just like not into it, because doesn't he like invite her out to do something, to walk with him or something, and she's like, nah, I'm good, thanks.
Nah, I'll pass.
I'm gonna go riding with Lucian, which is what she does. She goes to catch Lucian, and he's like, hey, you can come on patrol with me.
Right.
And then, this next is, she's kind of realizing about Andrus, that like he had friends, he had a place here, you know?
Yeah, I really like that. I took note of this also. I really like this. She's she questions Lucian. She's like, so is this like your job? Do you like do patrols?
Right, that's what it is. Yeah.
And he tells her, no, this was Andrus's role. And I consider it an honor to fill in.
That was meant to have been fixed, video watchers, but it's fine. We're fine.
Yeah, he's like, I consider it an honor to fill in his shoes.
Right.
And do this for Tamlin. And she, I think, is just starting to realize like there's a human element to these people, right? To
they're
these
not
fae.
Just like monsters,
right? Yeah, it's honestly, it's great, and you're gonna hear me and probably Scott say this a lot throughout these chapters, but it's just such a well timed and efficient display of like interaction between them. Like, every word, every sentence so far has felt like there's intent,
meaningful,
and it's it's just so efficient. Yeah, like, could we get more like how their character thinks and acts and speaks and yada yada yada? You know, if there was more pointless stuff, like just excuse me, just them interacting with the world. Sure, and I do like that as well. But there's just something really good about like every interaction is purposeful.
Yes. Purposeful is an excellent word choice. I mentioned at the beginning of the first episode how first person narrative was not my favorite, but I have honestly I'm not like completely turned, but I don't even think about it when I'm reading, because I feel like it's just done so well. And like you said, I agree. The intent and the purpose behind every conversation. Here Lucian says basically like, when she apologizes and says, I didn't know what Andrus meant to you, Lucian kind of shrugs it off and he says, Tamlin said as much, which was no doubt why he brought you here. Or maybe you looked so pathetic in those rags that he took pity on you.
Yeah.
Which is harsh. But my girl Feyre, she snaps back, which is what Alice told her, basically.
Yes.
Like, Lucian needs someone to, like, snap back at him, more or less. And it works. And he's like, okay. Because she's like, hey, wouldn't have come if you were just going to insult me the whole time. And he's like, okay, cool. Well,
yeah.
cool.
I also really like that Lucian confronts her about her scheme.
Yes.
Just so, like, this dude's like, dude, I wasn't fucking born yesterday, dude. Like,
okay, this happens. I might as well address it now because it happens several times throughout these chapters. Is she just like really that easy to read? Or
no poker face.
It could be. Or do the fairies have some kind of mind reading? If not like straight out mind reading, like do they have just very good like mental perception, maybe?
Like a sixth sense?
Yeah, there is so much throughout here that they're just immediately like, she's trying to like scheme or like she has a plan and they call her on it like instantly.
Part of me kind of hopes that it's just her character is so unfamiliar with like
could be
the social game.
Yeah.
And I think that would be fitting for her character and a great weakness for her to overcome throughout this book or in later books.
Yeah, I can see that.
Could be wrong,
because Lucian is like, so when are you gonna ask me to like get you out of this, basically?
Right.
But he's also like, I'm sorry, I'm flattered you think I have that much sway with Tam, but also there's no loophole, so
yeah,
I admire your balls, but sorry.
We also get some kind of cool world lore here.
Yeah.
He makes mention of a quote her.
Mm-hmm.
That he is appears to be very afraid of, and almost in a way makes him like look over his shoulder to make sure he's not being heard.
You're right. Spied upon, perhaps.
Spied upon. Yep. We also learned that Prythian is ruled by 7 high lords.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit more lore dump that we get that I took note of. There's some conversation in between all this stuff, so if you want to stop me, that's fine. But
no, I think you have most of it.
Tamlin is the only one of them there that has the ability to shapeshift,
right.
But he can shapeshift others, and we are unsure if he can do it to like humans or other living things or just Fae.
Right.
But the one thing that kind of caught my interest about that specifically is Lucian does say, I don't have specific powers the way that lesser fairies do.
Yeah, I took note of that as well. So
that his class was basically just born to rule. Like they don't have specific powers.
Right. Yeah, I couldn't figure out if he meant like that means like most of the lesser fairies like have a specialty, like they specialize in something.
Right.
Whereas he can be more broad in his capabilities and powers.
Okay, yeah.
Or if that meant more just like, I don't have powers.
Yeah.
Because there was also a bit here that I was a little confused. He mentions Andrus was high Fae too. And maybe it was just the way it was phrased. I was like, does that mean Tam is something else? He's not technically high Fae. He's like maybe above that, perhaps. I don't know about you, and we learned this later. There wasn't any part of my mind that as soon as he talks about like the High Lords, I was like, well, obviously Tam is a High Lord.
The High Lord of this.
Right. Yeah. Were you as well? Okay.
Yes.
She's like shocked by this, but I don't know what's going on in her mind. I'm like,
I think it's just that she wasn't thinking like that hard about his position. She's just thinking about trying to get out.
Right. And we're obviously reading the story, so we have the, oh, well, this is how these things go. But yeah, like instantly I was like, oh, well, he's obviously the High Lord of this court. And turns out that was the case.
Lucian does hit us with the old Don't you want to know how I got these scars?
He certainly does, doesn't he?
Yeah.
No,
yeah,
she asked him.
I know. I'm joking. Yeah, he says that he didn't keep his mouth shut when he should have. And I want to know about that story.
Yeah, and he was punished for it. And she was like, "Oh, Tam did that to you?" And he's like, "God, no." Like he can't even imagine like
Tamlin being
that vicious or cruel. So like
right.
he's shouting out his boy here. This is where we find out about the Suriel. He mentions something about it, and she says, so there are fairies who will actually answer any question if you trap them. And her idea is maybe they'd know a way out of the loophole out of the treaty.
Mm-hmm.
But he tells her they're old and wicked and not worth the danger of going out to find them. And if you're stupid enough to keep looking so intrigued, I'm going to become rather suspicious and tell Tam to put you under house arrest. Turns out that doesn't happen. He actually just
Turns out that was a lie.
Turns out that was a lie. He actually all but encourages her to go out and do it, but we'll get to that. That is all I have for chapter 9. Did you have anything else?
Yeah, just chapter 9 ends with, oh shit, something's here. Put your bow down and don't look at it.
Oh, right. Yes. Yeah. So
whatever it is, do not react. Stare straight ahead. Don't fucking look at it.
Yeah, the Death Eater is here. You can't acknowledge these.
Here's a bit of
fuckers.
chocolate.
Here's a that kind of does happen later, actually. So yeah, this thing sounds creepy as hell. She can't look at it, but it's like talking to in her mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's super creepy. It tells her, I will grind your bones between my claws. I will drink your marrow. I will feast on your flesh. I am what you fear. I am what you dread. Look at me. Look at me. It's creepy, man.
It's
not into
it. It's very good.
It's effective. It's what it's doing.
It's very effective. Yeah. It sounds like death metal lyrics. I love it.
Yes, it is. I will grind your bones between my claw.
Yeah, dude. Let's start a band, Scott.
Let's not.
I will feast on your flesh, dude.
So they successfully don't acknowledge it.
Mm-hmm.
They ignore it successfully. And she's like, what the fuck was that? He calls it how are we pronouncing it? A bog? A bogey?
A bog.
Is that how they? Oh, yeah, that's right. You're listening.
Yeah, I have it in the audiobook.
No fun. I was going to make up all kinds of weird shit. Boget. Well, I want to call it a Boget.
I mean, I'm okay with that.
What's with these kind of creepy creatures getting named like, what's the Bogard, right? Is the Harry Potter one?
It's got to be some type of like suffix. Like
it might be.
Some Latin thing or...
Lucian says you cannot hunt it, you cannot kill it, even with your beloved ash arrows. Nice little needle at her there. When you look at it, when you acknowledge it, that's when it becomes real. That's when it can kill you. So it's not real unless it's like, it's very fear is the mind killer. This is like some Dune ass shit here, It's like only if you fear it, you acknowledge it. That's when it, gets you.
Yeah, directly after this, Lucian starts talking more shit to her.
Yeah.
Of
course he does.
Dunking on her. And I took note of this specifically because I was like, I think it's very funny that this whole time he's just like fucking taking shots. And what finally does it for him is she says, do you ever stop being a prick? Like that was her spitting back at him.
Her taking shots back at him is what makes him appreciate her.
And he goes, oh, okay. All right. And then he kind of like respects her in a way, but I just think it's very funny that all she says is, do you ever stop being a prick? And he's like, oh, she got fucking words, dude. He's like, I respect you for calling me a prick.
It's not like the greatest like clap back of all time, but I guess in his eyes at least it's something. Maybe he just hasn't had good like banter game. Like as obviously Tamlin's not gonna banter with him in this way. So he'll take what he can get at this point.
True. That's fair.
I did appreciate this shot, this quick thing about how he's offended by how old she thinks he is, because they're talking about the war. She's asking if he can use his sword and all that. And she asks him if he fought in the war. And he's just like, shit, Feyre, I'm not that old. And I just thought that was funny. Like, he's like hundreds of years old, probably, but he's still offended that he's not 500 years old. Like, damn.
Which is, it's very funny, because a couple days ago, like, one of my friends posted something on Instagram and I responded to it, saying that it made me feel old, laughing. And she's like, she's a bit younger, like she's like in her, I don't know, like mid-20s or something like that. And she's like, well, how old are you? Like, you're not 30 or whatever. And I was like, bitch, I am 31. Okay. She's like, 30s aren't old. And I was like, yeah, okay, nice save.
Nice save. Excellent. Well done. Jeez. We're getting up there, buddy.
Yeah.
I mean, not really, but actually kind of
a little bit.
Tam is pissed at supper that they went hunting without him. He's like pouting about this, which I think is great. I'm into it. Then Lucien tells him they ran into the bogey. I might call it a bogey. That sounds funnier.
Troll bogeys.
Oh, that's right. There is a bogey, and
no, it's just boogers. That's all.
I thought there was something called a bogey, and is there not?
It's
Harry
a bogart. Potter? You said it like 5 minutes ago.
But then I was like, wait, is there also a bogey? No. You got a bogey on your tail. I think that's a Star Wars thing. So Tam gets super pissed, and he just straight up leaves in the middle of dinner to go hunt the bog. Apparently he can kill it. He is capable of killing this thing that they were both terrified of.
He's a baller.
And Feyre does take a moment to think about how super badass he must be to do that, and how he tried to compliment her, and also he served her. Like, she does have a thought about that, like, this dude must be pretty legit if he can kill the bog, and he tried to compliment me, and he even offered to serve me dinner, so maybe I shouldn't be such a dick to him. But she continues to be a dick to him for several more chapters. Oh, shit. And what happens at the end of this chapter here?
The end of this chapter finishes with Feyre seeing her father down in the grounds.
She got. Rookie mistake.
Yeah, so that was a lie.
Yeah, obviously.
So chapter 11 begins with Feyre going downstairs to attempt to meet with her father. She has thought that
he came to rescue me.
Right.
He's got horses out in the fields. We're going to ride back.
And my notes are, okay, this is totally not her father, right? This has got to be some kind of trick.
Obviously. You sweet summer child, Feyre, you.
Tamlin intercepts her and says it's not your daddy. Look again.
Yeah.
Check it again.
Check it again.
Shouts to Purple Eyes.
Dude. He's like, didn't I tell you your human senses? They call her human a lot, which this sounds so derogatory every
fucking
time they say
muggle,
it.
Dude.
Yeah. Your human senses would betray you. He just like snarls at the thing, and it's like, oh shit, and gets out of here. So what is this thing? The Pekka? Where is it? I have it in my notes here somewhere. Pelka? What is it called?
It is a...
I thought I had it in my notes.
I have it in here. Where the fuck is it?
Oh, he does tell her there are worse things than the bog prowling these woods at night, which that's a terrifying thought. That thing at the gates isn't one of them, and it still would have taken Puka. It still would have taken a good long while devouring you. So he's like, listen, That thing ain't shit, but it still would have ate the hell out of you.
Puka shell over here.
Oh, puka shell necklace.
You were a puka shell guy, weren't you?
No.
Oh, come on.
Definitely not. Maybe a nice shark tooth necklace.
Ooh,
when I was like a junior high.
Did you do the polo with like different colored stripes and then a long sleeve underneath it?
Yes. Didn't everyone?
Yeah. What a guy.
Didn't everyone in junior high?
Yeah.
I wore the leather armband at some point, I'm pretty sure.
A leather armband?
Yeah, more like a bracelet, like a leather bracelet.
Oh, okay. I was like a bracer?
Yes, I wore a full. I was LARPing.
Damn, Scotty, get down.
I don't think I ever did. Even I recognized that a puka shell necklace was just a bridge too far.
Hey, man, maybe I wore a puka shell. I don't know. Actually, I don't think I did.
I would have loved. No, you 100%. I feel like I've seen pictures of you wearing one.
I don't think I did.
Back when you were a lesbian.
Back when I was.
We should share that picture on the social. There's an amazing, my favorite Zach Youth picture where he just straight up looks like a lesbian. It's so good.
That'll be on the Patreon.
Yeah, so there you go.
You gotta join the Patreon.
Yeah. We gotta tease that shit.
Tease me, hey. Yeah. So he says, look, if you're gonna try and like get out of here, you got to do it in the daytime.
Yeah.
I think it's funny that he tells her that, but then anytime she's wandering around, he's like, what are you doing? Where are you going?
Yeah, no. I think he's trying to really hammer home the dangers of the night.
Yeah.
I guess. They have it out a little bit here. He's like, what do you want? And she's like, I want to go home, bitch. And he is just like still perplexed by this. And he's like, home to what? Like, that miserable human scene, existence? Which is interesting because I remember like her dad basically saying like effectively the same thing. Like, you should leave and also never come back because you deserve better than this shitty existence. But here she is again with this promise. She straight up tells him, I made a promise to my mother when she died that I'd look after my family, that I'd take care of them. All I have done every single day, every hour has been for that vow. And just because I was hunting to save my family, to put food in their bellies, I'm now forced to break it. And I'm like, damn.
It's a good scene.
It's a very good interaction between these two.
He does tell her, you're not breaking that vow. You're fulfilling it by staying here.
Correct.
And my note is, I think this is partly because he is providing for them in some way.
Mm-hmm.
But also, keeping her away from them means that they won't get caught up in some crossfire.
Sure.
Because she will likely get hunted.
Yeah. Also, I definitely think that there's part of it where he is coming to like and respect her, and we see that more throughout the chapters. And he doesn't want her to go back to that shit existence either, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, he's like, your family is cared for, fed, and comfortable, and this hits her pretty hard. She's just like, she's stunned. She said her life was now owned by the treaty, but perhaps I'd been freed in another sort of way.
Yeah, and it's cool because, I mean, I don't know that, maybe cool is not the right word, but like, you can definitely tell that like her commitment to this promise, I do think is a cultural, like, she feels bound by it because of the cultural expectations to uphold a vow.
Sure.
Because the second she sees, like, and he explains it like that, she immediately is like, oh, am I free from this?
Right. She stops trying to leave every 2 seconds. She stops thinking about getting away every 2 seconds.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So it's interesting. I mean, again, that could be something that matters or doesn't, that like her commitment to this vow, but it's just, this is the exact type of like internal monologue, like decision making or like speculation that I think shapes a character to me, and I think it's good. I think it's cool to see that.
I agree. Tam casually drops, "We don't need sentries if I'm here." Just like, flex, my guy. That's fucking you do you, my brother.
This guy
That's
is
awesome.
constantly flex. Like, he is rigid always.
He is constantly just like, and this is, I love, like, normally it's just like him being hot is his subtle flex. This is just like, we don't need sentries if I'm here, because that's how fucking much of a badass I am.
Right.
This is him just like hitting the nail on the head, and I'm here for it. So we get some background on him.
Yes.
He spent most of his life training as a warrior under his father, guarding the border. So there has always been unrest between the courts, it seems. He says that running these lands was not supposed to fall to him. He specifically says everything is different now. I think she asks him, like, well, what's different now? And he says everything.
Everything. Yeah. Typical fucking cool, mysterious, hot guy answer.
Yeah. As he just like, walks away, just everything.
That's a Jon Snow ass answer if I ever heard one.
Except, listen, like, Jon Snow doesn't have the cool factor. This is quite the badass factor yet.
Yeah, that's super fair. He does, however, explain that this is why he needs Lucian. He's like, dude, I ain't that guy. Like, I'm a fucking warrior, dude. Like, I talk with these motherfuckers, you know?
True. Unsheathes his claws. Like, have you seen these fucking things? Oh, hell yeah. He wants
I'm ready for it,
He wants
dude.
to sheathe it. He does.
Dude, I'm fucking ready. My body is ready.
Same. Big same. Let's go. We'll get there.
Yeah, so he kind of like relies on Lucian to do his politicking and social game.
Mm-hmm.
Is what he's telling us there. This thing was called a puka.
Mm-hmm.
It uses your desires to lure you in and then eat you.
Right.
And then we get a little bit of like a time jump. Just like a few days, but we learn that Tam is kind of away for like days and nights,
right?
Hunting the bogey, the bog, the bogue, the bogey.
Yeah, real quick before he left, there was one thing I wanted to call out. He said that these lands used to be well guarded. Creatures like the puka never would have dared set foot here like before.
Yes.
But now the sickness, the blight, I guess, that he's talked about, has weakened the wards that kept them out.
Yes, and it's also, I can't remember if it's this chapter or one of the following, but it's not just like that keeps them out, but it's just the barriers and borders between all of the courts are weakening in general.
For sure. Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Yeah, it is. Feyre seems a little lost now. Because holding on to that promise was kind of all she had to cling to for a while. So she keeps just going on patrol with Lucian. And they've developed a bit of a rapport at this point. Yeah, Tam is off hunting the bog, the bogey, whatever. Like you said, and Feyre realizes that Lucian is worried about him. Lucian says he gets into moods, and I can see that. My dude is moody. But
my dude is Jon Snow.
Yeah, he definitely broods. Oh, this motherfucker 100% broods. But yeah. And she's like, hey, why isn't anyone out there helping him? And Lucian tells her he would probably shred them for disobeying his order to stay away. Every time Lucian talks about Tamlin, he always says something about shredding, which is very just interesting to me. I guess
Tamlin is actually the villain from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yes, Super Shredder. This dude do be shredding. I guess it's probably has something to do with the fact that magic is weakened, But this dude just is like all about his claws. Like, I don't even know why he carries those knives. It's all claws for this guy always.
Yeah. I mean, I bet his knives are like, oh, like it's a serious fight now.
Yeah, maybe.
No, I'm not even using 20% of my power.
We haven't seen a fraction of Tam's real power.
Yeah.
Oh, and then she asks like he would be that brutal. And Lucian mentions you don't hold on to power by being everyone's friend. Among the fairies, lesser and high alike, a firm hand is needed. We're too powerful and too bored with our immortality to be checked by anything else. That's some good shit. So good.
That is like such good precedent and like worlds building.
Yes.
It's so good.
Yes.
I love that line.
It frames Tamlin's character well. It builds worlds. It builds the world. It's so good. Because it's like, and it makes so much sense too. It's like, if you were a race of immortals, yeah, why wouldn't you just be like an obnoxious bastard? Because what is someone going to do about it?
Right.
Know? Like, who's going to stop me?
Yeah.
Like, what consequences do I have? You know.
I also like, aside from it being like a world builder, I like that it's something that Sarah J. Maas thought of.
Yes, that she took into account.
That she was like, hey, I need to address this.
Yes,
because that is a real thing that would likely happen.
Yeah.
And honestly, probably will likely happen and need to be checked. And like, is she setting that up as well?
For sure. My last note from chapter 11, here it comes. She's starting to sympathize with him. And now she's also having nightmares about killing Andress and the regrets and guilt she has about that.
Yeah, it's definitely like pouring more and more humanity into that interaction where she killed Andress, and she's feeling some pretty deep regret.
Yes. I think she's thinking a lot about specifically how he didn't fight back, and she's like,
she just accepted it, or he just accepted it.
She's feeling a little tore up about that, which good for her. Shows her character. Yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to ask you, just because of our comments about the writing, has it only taken us 11 chapters to become fans of the way that this chick writes? Like, are we already?
I don't even know if it was that many, to be honest. I feel like we commented it on the first episode. It's not overly complicated. Like, there's a simpleness and a straightforwardness to it that I appreciate.
Yeah, like, I think the only thing that I can foresee being a struggle for me is how. I mean, obviously, I know that this is a long book series, so like,
right,
you know, there's bound to be things that are drawn out, but like, so far, again, we're only 11 chapters into this discussion.
Mm-hmm.
It does seem like the majority of adversity that's put in front of them is quickly overcome.
Sure. Yes.
Whether that's like an actual physical problem right in front of them, or a feeling or a situation, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Which, letting it stew a little bit longer, I think gives a better payoff, and sometimes that is enhanced by maybe a little bit more of a dense book, if you will.
Sure.
But that's such a small nitpicky thing. Like, it doesn't mean that I'm not enjoying the payoffs when we're getting them.
Right.
It can be a limiting factor though.
All I'll say is 11 chapters in, or 18 realistically, because that's what we read too. I'm enjoying it. Talking about her writing specifically, I am concerned if it's a long running series, like how we will get, if we will at all, like other POVs, you know, like,
right.
How will we see things that are taking place elsewhere, or maybe we won't, and that could get, you know, a little stagnant. Boring, a little stagnant. Exactly. If we're just with her the entire time. So that's not right now, because again, we're so early, but that could be a long-term concern. And Yeah, I would say that's my biggest thing, because she gives little details and flavor here and there, but she doesn't get bogged down in it. Like, one of the things for sure that George does a lot, and people comment on this all the time, is like how he will take like 10 pages to describe all the fucking dishes they're eating at a feast. Yeah. And it's just like, listen, you do you, brother. It's fine. I think it's fine and enjoy it. It's funny. But very little of that so far. Like, her writing is to the point.
Yes.
And as of right now, I am here for it. So
yes, I think it's a great way, especially to start off a series.
Yes, this early on, it gets you engaged quickly, for sure.
That's the difference when like you read like an epic versus this, where an epic you're thrown in and you have no fucking idea. Like you're just like struggling to figure out what words mean and places
goddamn
are. And
Babe in the Woods.
Yeah, dude. Scotty, I think we might be getting a red hot alert.
Oh, what's that? What's the red hot alert?
I think we might be getting some type of breaking news.
Oh, do we have breaking news?
I think we might have some breaking news right now.
What kind of breaking news do we have, Zachary?
This is the first of probably many. Maybe, I don't know.
So fucking. We'll see how this goes.
We know if you're listening to us talk about ACOTAR, you like the spice.
Yeah, we love spice.
You like the hot spice. You also probably like the hot goss.
Oh, I love hot goss, Zach.
I love me some hot goss too. So we have built a relationship with our resident hot goss expert, tuning in frequently. We don't know how frequently, but frequently, to inform you guys of the happenings in the ether of trash TV. A resident hot goss and trash TV expert, my wife. Is that still a joke that people make?
No, definitely. Sure. Us, yes, because we're lame.
Amanda. And she's going to bless you guys with... and by the way, we should preface this. Neither Scott or I have heard this recording.
Oh, you haven't heard it either?
No. I got it. I ran it through the audio like compressor filter that I use and sent it to you.
Excellent. So yes, live on the scene, we need to transition to our reporter on the scene. Amanda, what's going on with the hot goss? What's going on in the trash TV out there?
Beep, 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 beep. Thanks, guys. I'm coming to you live from beneath the comforter with truly one of the most outrageous whiplash incidences I have ever seen in all of my years here at the AHG. All right, let's get into it. So it starts with this undeniable connection between the two victims, Leo and Cassie. Friends of the couple would describe them as magnetic. But just 5 days into their connection, Leo seamlessly moves on with another woman who wishes to remain nameless.
That Leo.
Asshole.
Leo and Cassie spent the next few weeks fighting against their magnetic pull until they finally could no longer deny it. And actually, breaking news, I just got a text from Joe Biden himself. It says, folks, tonight is your last chance to enter our contest to meet me and two of my good friends, Barack Obama and Bill Clinton. If you could chip in $5, $10, or any amount now, you will be automatically entered to win an all-expense-paid trip to meet us in person. Honestly, I don't know where I left off, but Joe Biden is making an appearance here on the first ever Hot Goss with Amanda. I also want to make it known on the record that we do not endorse any president in particular.
Any president.
But I do get text messages from Joe Biden. Thanks, guys.
I don't even know what I expected when we decided to do this segment, but it certainly wasn't that.
Dude, this is so fucking funny because there
She just...
There are times where I'll see she has like a long text message and I'm like, what's that about? And she's like, oh, it's just I'm just talking with Joe Biden.
Oh my
like it'll
God.
be like all those stupid fucking
like
political ad
yeah
campaigning texts. It's
just
so
when I
fucking
thought she
funny.
was gonna zig, she like zogged.
Yeah,
she just
it wasn't even a zag,
like,
dude.
Oh my God.
Amanda, we love you.
I really wanted to know more about Leo, that asshole.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the name, but listen, the president comes first. Like, obviously, like she had to.
Maybe we'll learn more about Leo
she
next
had to
time.
shout that out. Yeah. That certainly
This
was
has
something.
been your weekly Amanda's Hot Goss, AHG, here on the Mythkeepers Podcast. Let's go.
All right. Oh my God, that was wild. Okay.
That was amazing.
Chapter 12. Our girl's creeping around in the night making a map. And Tam comes in. He's all fucked up, but he's killed the Boke. I mean, he's not really that fucked up, really.
Yeah, it like the imagery here is very back and forth, I feel like.
Honestly, this kind of didn't make sense because it said he was limping and that like blood was everywhere. She was like talking about like, he was dripping blood all over the carpet, which first of all, dude, Alice is going to have to clean that carpet. Come on, guy. Be more considerate. Don't drip blood on the carpet.
Alice, my goat.
Yes, Alice, our goat, is going to have to clean that. Get your damn blood, you filthy animal, out of the house. So yeah, he's like limping and all fucked up, and then it's like a couple small cuts on his hand that she's like, oh, he won't even need stitches. And I'm like, what the fuck was the limp about?
Yeah.
A little strange there. I have to call that out. We call out shit. What else is that? Oh, he notices that she can't write.
Yes.
Is the big thing. He notices her janky ass map.
Mm-hmm.
And he compliments her though. He's like, it's no wonder you became so good at other things. Which I guess is just like I don't know how he do you remember specifically the wording there?
I don't. You can't write, yet you learn to hunt. How? He asks her. I know that.
Right. Maybe that's what it was. It was like she figured it out on her own, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't remember exactly how the whole compliment thing happens. But then oh no, actually that's later. Never mind. I'm getting ahead of myself. Sorry, go ahead.
She's just feeling a little sorry for him here. And now she's going to nurse him, which I mean, classic maneuver here. Like,
love a good nursing.
Yeah, dude gets heroically injured. The lady's gonna fucking just like her panties gonna be so wet when she has to nurse him. Like that's just classic. Always happens. You guys out there, here's a little trip. If you get injured heroically, you're in. Like no, yeah, it's over.
Yeah, and probably if you're a lady, which I feel like 95% of you listening to this fucking podcast are. Confirm or deny?
Yeah, true. Let us know if that's not true. Yeah.
That's the poll this week.
That could be the poll, yes. Is that true that if you have to, we have to figure out a way to word it, I guess. If a man you maybe kind of sort of like, I'll figure it out. If he gets heroically injured.
Or a man's you want gets heroically injured.
Well, but she's not acknowledging anything yet.
But she's acknowledging that he's hot as fuck.
That's true too. And that doesn't. That's the real story here. Is that doesn't hurt your chances. If you're hot as fuck, you're already probably fine. If you're hot as fuck, don't go out and injure yourself because you're fine either way. Probably.
Okay, if you're like middle hot as fuck.
Yeah, maybe then go jump off a roof or something.
Go fight I don't know, a mountain lion or a bobcat.
Don't actually do that. That's a very terrible idea.
We don't endorse.
We don't endorse
hurting yourself.
That or jumping off a roof.
Or hurting animals.
But don't mountain lions are cool as hell.
Maybe just stop listening to this podcast.
Don't listen to anything we say. She patches up his hand and she literally can't stop thinking and talking about how hot he is. Like it's actual literal here. She talks about how his skin is like an inferno. I'm like, oh, he's literally hot and also figuratively
a little bit of Karlach going on.
Yes, definitely. Shouts to Karlach.
That's a thing, though. Girl, like women, I feel like, I mean, not all women, obviously, but like hands.
Oh yeah.
Like when a hand's real handy,
well, especially if they run.
What
cold,
them hands do?
What them hands doing? Especially if they run cold. That's like, I feel like an instant in. It's like, oh, I can put my cold feet on him at night and it'll warm him right up. You know what I'm saying?
See, I am very warm-bodied and Amanda fucking hates it.
Really?
She's always like...
Is she also warm-bodied?
She's normal, but she's like constantly like...
Okay, I just heard her ramble on for about a minute
she's
and a
not
half
normal.
about
Anything
Joe Biden.
but normal.
She is anything but normal.
But body temperature-wise, she's normal. But dude, she gets so mad at me. She like in the middle of the night, she'll be like, "Stop fucking cuddling me. I'm sweating because of you."
Maybe that only works if a girl's like cold-blooded. I know no one's actually cold-blooded, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Maybe it only works if you're hot as fuck.
Again, we're back there. We're back to square one. Maybe this only works if you're hot.
Yeah.
He's still impressed that she'd learned to hunt and survive, and says she's not what he expected for a human. So his walls are coming down too.
Before soon it'll be his draws coming down.
Oh boy, how right you are, friend. What's next here?
Yeah, so
she's eavesdropping.
Yeah, she overhears Lucian and Tammy boy appearing to be in a little bit of an argument.
A little bit of a tiff.
Little spat.
Mm-hmm.
Little twat.
Two was fine. We were good.
Well, that was actually... Never mind. Lucian is calling Tammy boy a little softy.
Yes, he is.
He's saying, yo, you're being a bitch right now. You're being a fucking simp, my guy. And Tammy boy says, true. So Tammy boy's like, listen, dude, I'm not going to be rude to the humans or mistreat. And then he does reference, especially considering what my father has done to their kind.
Yes, this was the most interesting part, I thought.
Yeah, 100%. And then this is actually where what I commented on earlier happens. I took note that there's a little more at play happening here with this blight, because it is also apparently bringing the barriers down between their different courts or lands.
Lucian also mentions there isn't much time, which is another important aspect of this, is that I'm assuming this is referencing specifically, what is that face about?
I'm trying not to be a dick.
What did I do? Shut the fuck up. I'm assuming that's referencing like the blight is getting worse, but also as like, could there be more to that? Like my theory about like, you know, and listen, I'm gonna call it out again. I'm not struggling for words that bad, Zach. Fuck you. The whole Beauty and the Beast thing, like, continues throughout this whole segment.
But it does break a little bit. No,
maybe
it does.
Disagree. But I don't mind because it's well done. Like, if you're gonna homage something, being generous here, at least make it good, and she has. Yeah. My point being, is he running out of time in other ways? I had the theory about, like, does he have to, quote unquote, get with a human for some reason? The rose petals are falling, if you will. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
May not be. May just be Lucian talking about the blight here. Certainly possible. But I just had that thought.
You may have to jog my memory here, but the next note I took was just simply, in quotations, has anyone ever taken care of you? And then I put in my own commentary, they gonna fuck. Because I think they're talking.
Taking care of you is doing a lot of heavy lifting in that sentence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're talking about like her caring for her family, I think.
Yes, yeah, I think so.
And then he asks, well, has anybody ever taken care of you?
Yeah.
Come on, ladies.
Come on.
You got a hot ass man who is implying, hey, I can take care of you. Oh my God.
In so many ways,
take
can he
care
take
of
care
me.
of,
I'm heavy breathing over here, my guy.
Yeah.
I'm hearing this and I'm like,
yeah.
I need him to take care of me.
Call
my mommy.
Call Daddy Tam, take care of me.
Dude.
Hold on. I need to back up just a hair.
Okay.
Because there was another thing in here that Lucian said that I found very interesting. This is still while she eavesdropping, because there was a lot of interesting stuff.
Okay, sure. Sorry for getting ahead.
No, you're fine. He says, right after Tam tells Lucian, I won't follow in my father's footsteps, so back off. Lucian comes back with, back off while you seal our fates and ruin everything. I stayed with you out of hope, not to watch you stumble. And this is where he calls him soft. For someone with a heart of stone, yours is certainly soft these days. So, and then he mentions that, yes, the barriers between the courts are vanishing and our woods are teeming with filth. Are you just going to start living out there, slaughtering every bit of vermin that slinks in? So Lucian wants Tam to do something. And it seems like Tam doesn't want to do it. I have no idea what any of this could be. But he says specifically, I stayed with you out of hope, not to watch you stumble. So Lucian seems like he's counting on Tam to do something specific. And Tamlin doesn't want to. Which is interesting.
What I think is... So, like, the way I understood this interaction, I mean, I could definitely be misplaced, is that, like, a lot of this has to do with his acceptance of Feyre.
Tamlin's acceptance of Feyre.
His acceptance of her has changed him in a way.
Sure.
And what, to go further than that, this is where my head's at, is like how does she fit into him changing his like ideals and like how he's managing his lands?
Yeah.
So I mean, like, I'm not saying it doesn't make sense. I'm just saying it's interesting. Like, I wonder how it's connected, or I wonder like what has changed about him that Lucian is commenting on.
Well, see, this, with information we get later, this makes honestly less sense to me, and I wonder what the piece we're missing here. But we'll talk about that when we get there.
Okay.
So then, I think this must be the next day. Feyre asks if she can ride with Lucian again. He's like, "Nah, I'm busy. You'll have to hang with hot ass over here."
Yeah.
And so Lucian basically forcing both of their hands that they have to then spend the day together. And this is where he just straight up calls her, kind of what I referred to earlier. He calls her on stealing the knife and eavesdropping. So again, maybe she just has a really bad poker face. Maybe it's their high face senses or whatever. Or could there be some kind of slight mind readiness going on? I don't know.
Maybe not mind reading, but like they can sense a presence or something like that.
Or emotions. Maybe I don't know. Anyway. I guess, well, did I miss this? She asked him outright what Lucian meant about him not having much time. Oh, right. No, he denies it. He shrugs and says, I'm immortal. I have nothing but time.
Right.
Feyre, he said my name with such intimacy. Jesus, Feyre, just fucking, just jump on him right now.
Dripping. I'm telling you.
You can't have inner dialogue like, he said my name with such ... intimacy. You can't think things like that and not just jump on your mans like this.
Hey, she is practicing self-control.
Yeah, good for her. I couldn't do it. I'd jump on him.
Fair.
I'd jump on his hot
especially because my next note, because by the way, I quoted, he said my name was such ... intimacy. That's in my notes as well.
Hell yeah.
But my direct note after this is, man, she really out here noticing his back muscles. Got me heavy breathing.
Dude, every other paragraph, there's her noticing his muscles. It's the chest muscles here in a minute. It's the back muscles. It's the arms. My dude must be yoked beyond all belief.
I picture his build like a Geralt.
Geralt?
Geralt? I don't know if I'm saying it right.
Geralt of Rivia?
Yeah.
Are you talking about the Witcher guy?
Yeah. Well, I'm talking about Henry Cavill.
Oh, okay. Okay, yes. Thank you, Jesus. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, Henry Cavill is. Yeah, a little on the bulkier side, but still shredded.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he's not like a Gosling who's like slim and shredded.
No, I think this guy's got a warrior's build.
Yeah. 100%. I'm with you. I can see a Cavill. Yeah. That's a good call out.
But specifically Cavill in The Witcher.
I can't not picture him as just the animated beast. Like, even when he's in human form, I'm still picturing the beast from Beauty and the Beast. Like, every time.
Interesting. I have not been doing that, but
no, I can't help it because this story is just the Beauty and the Beast.
That's fair.
That's all I had for chapter.
Yeah, that's how it ends.
12.
So 13, she and
he shows her to the study.
Yeah, they have a little chat, and he shows her to the study and basically gives her access, like free reign of the study.
Which was definitely a scene that happened in the Beauty and the Beast.
Shit, dude.
I haven't seen that shit in like a decade.
That's
I still remember that.
So fucking funny, Scott. Holy shit.
Listen, I'm just saying. We're all thinking it. I'm just saying it. Again, I'm not mad about it, though, as long as it's done well.
Okay.
So far, it has been.
All right. Fair enough. She uses this time and this access to the study to attempt to learn how to read/write.
Yeah. She's been like embarrassed the last, I feel like, several chapters in her head about the fact that she can't. She can read a little bit.
She
definitely
little
can't
bit.
write.
She's not. I mean, she's not reading great. You know,
she's not reading rainbows. That's for sure.
she's not hooked on phonics.
No.
Yeah. So, but the more interesting. By the way, so she's wanting. I don't know if you said this. Sorry. She's wanting to be able to write her family a letter.
Yes, she wants to write. She wants to learn this so she can send a letter to her family. And again, I think I called this out at the end of last episode, but the thing I admire about Feyre is her determination and hustle. Like, she doesn't get bogged down in her shortcomings and problems.
You mean bogeyed down? Bajade down?
That's pretty good. I'll give it up for that. She's just like, okay, what do I have to do to fix this? Let me teach myself how to read and write. Yeah. I'll just do it. And that happens several times throughout this chapter, like times she's talking to a hot ass where he's like, how did you learn how to swim? And she's like, figured that shit out. Trial and error. Oh, the bandaging thing too. Mm-hmm. He's like, how'd you learn how to bandage so good? And she's just like, I taught myself. Trial and error.
What was interesting about that is he's like, you bandaged it in a way where I can still use my hand.
Uh-huh.
And so in my head, I'm like when you would, like, if you were to bandage yourself, would you just bandage a fucking mitten? Like,
yeah, he doesn't have to bandage normally, bro. Remember, he's got healing magic.
Okay, that's fair.
Yes,
okay.
He is just putting a club, like a full like anime style, just like bandage.
No, I picture
bandages.
In baseball the fucking sliding mitt.
Okay, yeah, that works too. Yeah.
Okay, but we get some legitimately cool shit here.
A lot of big lore dump.
Big lore dump. She is perusing the study, and she notices a massive, what's the word? Mural. And she's in awe. This is a mural that tells the story of Prythian.
Yeah.
It's a very cool scene. It shows their history, a massive war, lots of bloodshed.
This is why they, and I mentioned this in the first episode we did, why they kind of refer to the cauldron as like kind of as a placeholder for like a god figure. They in the way they talk, their phrasing. It's kind of like everything came from this mighty black cauldron.
Right.
Which is held by some slender female hands, it says. So, it's
maybe that's the she.
Maybe it is. But that makes sense that like cauldron is kind of like a creator stand-in, if you will.
Right. Like sugar, spice, everything nice, a little bit of X.
This is the Powerpuff Girls opening?
Yeah.
Definitely.
So some geographical lore dump here for everybody who is reading for the first time and for us to discuss. We are currently in the lands of the Spring Court, and there are 6 other courts and lands, and there is the Autumn, the Summer, and the Winter Court. And then, which is interesting because there's seasonals, like this 4 seasons as courts, and then there's like times of the day.
Yeah.
So the next 3 are the Dawn Court, Day Court, and the Night Court.
The Dawn Court is the interesting one to me. Is that just me? Is that just a weird me thing?
Well, I mean, dawn is just a cool fucking word.
It is, yes.
But it's
100%.
like in between.
Right. So why not a Twilight Court? It's like the one that's out of place in my head for whatever reason. Like the 4 seasons make sense.
It's because Sarah J. Maas probably was like, I don't want to use Twilight.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Because it's fucking...
That wouldn't even pop into my head. Dusk. Call it the Dusk Court then. Like there are ways around that. Yeah. I'm just saying like 6 makes more sense. Just like night and day in addition to the seasons. The dawn one is just so strangely out of place because like if you have dawn, why don't you have a dusk court?
Right. Well, because 8 is not a powerful magic number, dude.
No. 8's way powerful. My eye. This is my hot Scott predictee. The dawn court is my court to keep an eye on. I think that one's the one I'm most intrigued by. It's the outlier. I'm telling you.
Okay. Interesting. Okay.
Also, just because I love dawn stuff. Big. Well,
big
no,
Dawn
I can't
Stan
tell you that.
Here.
Big Dawn Stan. No, listen.
He
there's
loves
a
doing
reason.
dishes, this guy.
Not that kind of Dawn, you dick. There's a lot of
Gets
Dawn.
stains out, too. It's really great.
Does
breaks down oils.
Job. There's a lot of Dawn stuff going on in One Piece right now that I can't talk to you about because you're way behind. But big Dawn Stan for sure over here.
Gotcha. Have you ever used a Scrub Daddy with some Dawn soap?
I haven't, no.
Scrub Daddy's...
What's so special about a Scrub Daddy? Isn't it just a sponge with holes in it?
No, but it holds its shape so much better. So much better. I love it. And it's also got a cute little face on it.
My fucking guy out here selling Scrub Daddies. No, but it holds its shape, you guys.
Dude, it's the fucking truth, man.
Okay,
Anybody out here can vouch who's used a Scrub Daddy. I'll be your Scrub Daddy, Scotty.
Yeah, you will.
So
what happens in this fucking mural?
I mean, that's really all like. It just depicts like their like a timeline almost, and a lot of bloodshed. It depicts the war between the humans.
Yep.
And it ends in bloodshed.
Yeah, it's no good.
It's a bad time.
It's she's constantly noticing how kind of dismissed the humans are, like on the creation panel because it's like multiple panels. She's reading manga over here. The first panel, there's like no mention of humans whatsoever. and then it's like, yeah, the war, but then like the lands below the wall where the humans are is just like no detail, just like kind of a smudge. She almost describes it. It's like whoever painted this just don't give a shit about the humans. She kind of constantly feels, probably rightly so, dismissed by these fairies.
Yeah.
Although she needs to pay more attention to Tam because he's trying. Come on, girl. Anyway.
I think she will.
Yeah, she's getting there. She's getting there. She's paying attention to his muscles only. That's why she's not hearing his words.
Yeah, man.
Because
too much to look at.
She's just staring at his hot ass bod.
One thing that did stand out to me is that in the center of the map is a mountain range and a massive solitary peak.
Yeah. That doesn't have any snow on it, she notices. She says something like how it's like weather was even afraid to touch it.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's a cool descriptor.
Yeah. She theorizes that that's where the cauldron like first dripped. Is that peak? Yeah, interesting stuff. And then she also notices the kingdom to the west.
Which we will hear a little bit more about in just a minute.
Yes, we will.
So Tamlin comes in and he basically calls her a filthy common. Just like you guys.
Maybe nicer than we do usually, but yes. We're not very nice about it. But we love you.
One line that I did take, which isn't really him like intentionally talking shit or anything, but he just says, "Why should I mock you for a shortcoming that isn't your fault?"
Yeah.
And she's like, "Shortcoming." Wow.
That was the nicest way he could phrase it.
I know. Yeah, it's...
He also says that this is a little dismissive too. I will say this. He has better things to it seems well intentioned, but is definitely a little dismissive. He has better things to do with his time than find elaborate ways to humiliate her, which is kind of like
ouch.
Sweet, but also like dismissive at the same time. I don't know. I can't decide on that one.
There's some pretty clear evidence that Feyre is really struggling with how to feel about and interact with Tamlin.
Yes.
Like obviously, like there's the whole like attraction tension thing, but just like in general, like from like a moral standpoint, she is really grappling with that.
Yes.
And I think it's cool. It adds a little bit more dynamic.
Because he's bringing up Lucian, why he can go on hunts with her, but why she won't do stuff with him. And she's like, Lucian is what he is. Lucian wears everything he is. He doesn't pretend. And she's like, I can't figure the fuck out, basically. Which is interesting because Lucian is like the diplomat, the like supposed to be the schemer, but also she understands him, relatively quickly, which is, I think, just a fun kind of, twist on that.
Would you get some cool interaction with Lucian actually next? Did you have anything that you wanted to say before I move on?
Oh no, I guess just again how he's trying to be nice to her because he offers to like help her write the letter. He knows again what she's doing. And he offers to write a letter to her family for her. But she is just like, she can't get past the fact that of her shortcomings, And she even has like a small like PTSD style flashback where it's like those words coming from Nesta's mouth, like of all her shortcomings.
For her being so concerned about her shortcomings, it'll be a short while before she starts having some big comings. Am I right? I fucking workshopped that one real hard.
I instantly knew where you were going to end up, but I was fascinated to know how you were going to get there, and it did not disappoint. As soon as just by the tone in your voice, I knew when you started that sentence, it's like, okay, I know where this is ending. How is his ass going to get there? And it's so good. Yeah. I fucking love your ass.
Thanks, bud.
You fucking bitch. Yeah. Sorry. I think that was. Oh yeah, she's back talking to Lucian, right? Is that what you said? Okay. Yeah. That is what I have next then.
So the first thing is that Lucian says that he has to go sort out, or that he had to go sort out some hotheads on the northern border.
Yes.
Wonder what that's about.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't take a ton of notes on like their whole conversation, but the thing that stood out to me that I wanted to write down is that I like her interactions with pretty much every character so far, but like I'm really enjoying her interacting with Lucian.
Yes, they're very fun.
She's more charismatic and cheeky and confident with him.
I have a specific line from Lucian here I would like to read.
Yeah, go ahead.
He says, I got back in time to hear your little spat with Tam. Wait, hold on. Actually, yes. Before I read this, I have something I need to amend from last week.
Okay.
I initially read Lucian as like a dude bro jock.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we had talked about that. These chapters, I had a way different vibe from him, and it took me a minute to place my finger on it, but then it hit me, and I can't stop seeing it, Zach.
Okay.
Lucian is Astarion. Just like a cheeky little, like shit. Like when you like fight back with him, he's like, yeah, all right, I'm into that.
Yeah.
I just see him so much as Astarion. So now instead of like the dude bro voice, I'm just hearing like, oh, I got back in time to hear a little spat with Tam. And I decided I was safer up here.
You know what?
I'm glad to hear your human heart is warm to me, though. At least I'm not on top of your killing list.
Yeah, actually, No, yeah, you're actually right.
Maybe that should be the poll. Anyone who's played Baldur's Gate 3, tell me I'm right about Lucian. At least so far here, he's Astarion. He's giving me hardcore Astarion vibes.
Interesting. Yeah,
and I'm here for it.
I'm so glad that you made that call out. Because yeah, I see it.
I can't not hear his voice as Astarion now, is all I'm saying.
Okay,
anyway,
well, you may have just broken shattered the glass for me.
I shattered your brain as well. That's good to know. Anyway, I thought that line was hilarious. He's just like, I'm glad your human heart has warmed to me. At least I'm not on top of your killing list. Yeah, sorry. I sidetracked us there.
No, you're good. So they talk more about this Suriel. I'm not sure.
Suriel, yep. Yeah.
Suriel. And he gives her step-by-step IKEA-ass instructions on how to assemble.
In the cheekiest, like, non-committal way ever, they're both doing this thing where it's like they don't want the culpability, so they're like,
yep.
Well, I would never tell you to grab a chicken and go out to find some birch trees and do that. That would be a terrible idea, so I won't do it. And she's like, well, I would never actually do those things you said, but if I were to theoretically, I'm just like, you fucking assholes.
Yeah, it's a pretty good, cheeky little interaction.
It's a fun interaction.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And that's the end of the chapter. Oh, well.
Well, no, it's just like, he just straight up asks her, like, I suppose you won't tell me what you want to know. And she's just like, you have your secrets and I have mine, bitch. And he's like, okay, fine. I respect that.
Real recognizes real, you know?
Yeah. He also very, like I said, in that non-committal way, basically makes sure to tell her, hey, snitches get stitches, by the way. Like, don't talk about this to Tam.
Don't go run to daddy about this.
Run into daddy. He even says that he's starting to like her for a murdering human. He has to get that little dig back in there, which is very good.
It is a good interaction.
That's the end of that chapter.
Chapter 14. So she heads out.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, hey, thanks for the fucking advice, my guy. I'm fucking out.
I'm out.
She does say that she could have sworn that she saw 4 female heads in the water.
Yeah, she sees the sparkly shimmer thing again, too.
Mm-hmm.
at some point.
So just interesting little happenings in these lands.
Yeah. It's weird shit in Fairyville.
She starts to she sets up some traps or a trap, gets set up in a tree, sets her, her whole snare up and everything like that. And she's ready to strike. But then she hears something. She hears a whisper and then a scream. And this Suriel.
Suriel?
What you sound like?
Sora.
Goofy? Is that like I sounded?
Saying Sora. Sora. Gosh.
Suriel? Is that it?
Sure, I don't care. You say whatever you want, buddy.
Gets caught.
Yeah. It's creepy as hell.
It is creepy as shit. I like this. This is cool.
It's like a this is very Fates, like the Fates, like a seer vibe. Like just kind of an old crone, except it's like a skeleton, like in a cloak type of vibes.
What I am curious about is this ability that this thing has seems pretty rad. Like it would make them pretty sought out, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
But when her and Lucian are talking about it, earlier, it almost made it seem like they're kind of common.
Yeah, they keep saying the Suriel, then also later, and I was confused if that was just the Suriel, as
the
in
one that
race of Suriels,
okay.
or if it was the A1 exactly. There's one Suriel.
Yeah.
So I wasn't sure about that
because there's this whole thing that's happening in my brain where it's okay, if there is one in the entire world, what are the odds that our fucking girl,
she's a great hunter,
she just gets it.
She's such a fucking good hunter.
But then if there's a lot of them, that just seems like an OP power and skill for there to be several of them.
Maybe they can only tell things they know, though. Maybe this isn't as magical an ability as we're seeing it as.
Maybe these are the things that just can't lie.
Yes, actually, yes.
Okay. I mean,
but
could
also Alice makes a comment because, to your point, it seems like everyone knows how to deal with these fuckers.
Yeah.
Lucian gave her the tough way, but also Alice gave her an easy way. So there's multiple ways of dealing with them, and everyone knows it apparently. But also, maybe this is the one thing that actually can't lie.
Yeah, maybe.
Because Alice also mentions hey, if it was you're lucky it was in a good mood, because if it wasn't, it would have killed the shit out of you. So also strange.
So she catches this Suriel, and she asks, "Is there any way for her to go home? Any way out of the treaty or whatever?"
She gets a big fat nope.
She's basically not unless you want to face death for you and your family.
Yep.
We also learned that Tamlin is the High Lord of the
Shock.
Spring Court. Yeah, shock. And then
she's shocked, of course.
Right. And then the Suriel tells us that she is older than the High Court.
Yeah.
Older than the bones of the world.
What the fuck does that mean?
Do not go looking for answers after today. You will be safe, though. She's basically saying, get back to the manor. You stick with the High Lord. You'll be safe.
Yeah. There's also a point where it's talking about the 7 courts. And each ruled by a High Lord, all of them deadly in their own way. They are not merely powerful, they are power.
Yes.
Power was capital P, by the way, too, there, which very interesting.
Yeah, very good. She says, it is too late for the High Lord for you. Or hold on, it's too late for the High Lord for you, perhaps for your realm as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then she gives us a little bit more lore dump. Across the violet Western Sea, there's another kingdom called Highburn, where humans no longer exist in their world, although the throne of the king, who's the king, by the way,
Yes, not a high lord.
Not a high lord. The king, the throne he sits on, is made of human bones. The king of Hybern has been upset that the treaty that he was forced to sign keeps him from killing humans, basically.
Mm-hmm. But he resents it, that he was forced to sign it.
He was forced to sign it. And also 100 years ago, he dispatched his ancient warriors as spies, courtiers, and lovers.
Yeah.
And they infiltrate the courts around the world.
Yeah, that part was super interesting. And then there's the deceiver.
Mm-hmm.
50 years ago, one of his commanders disobeyed him and betrayed him, it sounds like. The deceiver. And then that's when the Suriel is cut off by the appearance of the Naga. Yeah, which that's definitely something to do with like snakes, because these things look like snakes, and I know I've seen Naga referencing like snake-like creatures. Nagini. So there's definitely something going on with that, because I've seen Naga referencing snake creatures and other things. One more quick thing that the Suriel told her. She tells her to stay. Let me see. Find the quote here. Stay with the High Lord, human. That's all you can do. You will be safe. Do not interfere. Do not go looking for answers, or you will be devoured by the shadow over Prithian. He will shield you from it. So stay close to him and all will be righted. She thinks about that a couple times in these later come chapters, how she just needs to stay close to him. That's just her excuse. She's like, oh, I need to stay close to him. Okay, let me snuggle up to him. But yeah. Interesting stuff here. This was kind of our second big lore dump after the mural in these chapters, and as usual, I'm in here for it.
Yeah,
love a good lore dump. Love a good dump. You know,
love a good squatty potty.
I love a good squatty potty. Chapter 15, is her fighting the Naga, basically.
Yeah.
She's a resourceful hunter. She's absolutely screwed, but she does everything she can. She thinks to herself, hey, Lucian coming to help is my only shot, because when they were doing their, hey, do this, but don't actually do this talking shit, he mentioned something about like, yeah, I certainly won't be hunting on the grounds and listening if someone were to scream. That definitely won't happen. So she's like, okay, I have got to buy time. I'm going to scream, and then I got to buy time for Lucian to come save her.
Yeah. Sorry, I was having some technical difficulties.
Is everything good there, bud?
Yeah, it's good. My camera's just being a little weird.
But yeah, Lucian does not come to rescue her. It's her future hubby instead that comes to rescue her.
Yeah, this scene reminds me of when
Beauty and the Beast.
Well, yes, but my initial thought was it reminds me of Mufasa showing up when Simba's getting chased down by the hyenas.
Yeah, that too. It's wolves in Beauty and the Beast, right? He protects her from wolves, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I can see the Mufasa thing too. Who's a bigger badass, Mufasa, Tamlin, or the Beast?
Okay, well, Mufasa is the badass of all badasses.
Mufasa is the correct answer.
He's also
there.
James Earl Jones, so
yes,
he has to be the winner of that ask there.
God, that movie has some really good voice acting. James Earl Jones, and Scar is our other guy. Fuck. His name just escaped me. He's Alfred in Batman. The what's his name Batman? I can't think of
the
anyone's
fuck is his
fucking
name.
Names.
Jeremy Irons.
Jeremy Irons. Yes. God, I'm so bad with names. Anyway,
you're bad with most things.
It's true. So yeah, her hubby comes to rescue her. Of course, future hubby. Sorry. She thanks him. Good for her. She's grateful. By the way, she fucking holds her own. Can we talk about that for a second?
Dude, yeah, the immediate fucking shot at one of these things.
She takes one down like instantly. These things are not immune. These are not high fairies, apparently. No ash required. She takes that fucker straight down. Then she just starts using her bow like a club and just starts whacking fuckers with it as she's trying to run away.
I mean, this is like some actual depiction of like, I have to literally fight for my life.
Yes. She is holding her own against 4 of these fuckers. But anyway, he saves her, of course. He does the ripping and the tearing. He says it's the least that he could do.
He'll get to the other ripping and tearing a little later.
Jesus Christ. True, though. These things shouldn't be on his lands in the first place. And right now, here's what I was talking about. She can only think about the fact that he's a high lord and that the Suriel told her to stay close to him.
So she's gold digger.
Oh, don't mind if I do.
High lord, you say.
High lord, you say. Also hot as hell, you say.
Yes. So the chapter ends with her saying or feeling that she senses shame and defeat.
Yeah.
In Tamlin.
Yes, I took a note of this as well. It's interesting.
It's very interesting. Anything else here?
No. I guess this is kind of both chapters here. Lucian, or maybe it's Tamlin, says she killed 2. And I was like, wait, I thought she killed 1. I don't remember her killing 2. Do you? Doesn't really matter, I guess. No, she does. She stabs the one in the fucking throat.
The face. Or in the throat. You're right.
And she's like, just like screaming her war cry as she does it and talks about blood going in her mouth. And I was like, that is raw as fuck. Let's go, Feyre.
Yeah,
Feyre.
She's a badass, dude.
My girl goes hard.
She's
awesome.
Way harder than Belle.
Yes, sure, obviously. That was sick. So yes, shouts to her. Chapter 16. Go ahead.
Yeah, so Feyre starts asking some good questions to Alice.
Mm-hmm.
She asks why Feyre are crossing borders.
Right.
And why they aren't being
war.
Say that again.
And if it will mean war.
Right.
Like if it keeps happening.
She's also asking why they aren't being kept in check by their high lords. Why did I take a note of that if I didn't take note of Alice's reply? What does Alice say there? Do you have note of that?
Not explicitly. I just have here how Alice like calls her on her bullshit a bunch here. Alice basically tells her like, you didn't think I would realize what the kitchen gave you today or realize what you went to trap. This is where she tells her, had the Suriel not been in a benevolent mood, you would have deserved the death it gave you. I don't know what's worse, this or your idiocy with the puka. Alice is really letting her have it. And Feyre tries to come back with like, would you have done anything different if you had a family? And Alice is just like not having it. She's like, I do have a fucking family.
Yeah.
You bitch. Like,
she kind of got, dude.
She did get got hard here. She's like, my sister and her mate were murdered nigh on 50 years ago. 50 years. Interesting.
She now cares for her 2 boys.
Yes, leaving 2 younglings behind. Everything I do, everything I work for is for those boys. So you don't get the right to give me that look and ask me if I would do anything different, girl. I'm like, damn, Alice out here spitting.
Yeah, my note on this interaction is Alice instantly even more interesting.
Yeah, truly.
Alice is
this was like her one moment in these chapters. I was like a little sad we didn't get more Alice, but this was a great moment.
It was a good moment.
And that's also, this is also where she said, I do have this because this is very funny. The next time that fool Lucian, wait, should I do an Alice voice? The next time that fool Lucian gives you advice on how to trap the Suriel, you come to me. Dead chicken's my sagging ass. Great fucking Alice is my goat.
That voice was too like British mom.
That's how I view Alice.
I picture Alice like as more kind of like a badass girl.
No, I think she's older because she says my sagging ass. That means she's older.
What, young women can't have sagging asses, Scott?
No, I get
you. Being ageist now?
I am, yes. No, Alice is definitely older. She's British mom. That's the vibe I get from her.
Interesting.
Anyway.
I just kind of took her as like a badass.
Was offer it a new robe and it would have groveled at your feet. And I'm like, oh, way to go, Lucian.
Yeah.
And then my next note in all caps, I fucking knew they could lie. We talked about this last episode,
yes.
yeah? Okay.
Yeah, my note is Lucian is a fucker. Okay, great. I'm so happy to know that they can lie.
Yes, this makes me
also,
so happy.
Iron doesn't do shit.
Yeah, Iron ain't shit. Only Ash.
Ash Ketchum, am I right?
It's so funny the way she finds out about this too, is because I think it's Lucian says she looks lovely, and that's the thing that she finally calls them on, and she's like, I thought fairies couldn't lie, dick. And it says specifically Tamlin choked on his wine. So even Tamlin is like cracking up at this.
Yes.
And he's just like, who told you that? And she's like, everyone knows it.
I need to hear a Tamlin voice. What you got for Tamlin?
Oh, shit. No, maybe you should do a voice.
Wait, you're scared to be the hot guy?
Tamlin would just be like deep and sexy.
Yeah, like, I can't do that.
Yeah, no, I'm not deep and sexy enough for Tamlin.
You're definitely not deep.
Definitely not. She's like, yeah, everyone knows it. Everyone knows that you fairies can't lie. And Lucian's like, of fucking course we can lie, you idiot. He even says, we find lying to be an art. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to love this.
Hell yeah.
That's great. And he's just like, yeah, we lied when we told those ancient mortals that we couldn't lie. And I'm like, that's so good. How else would we get them to trust us and do our bidding? And I'm like, dude, Lucian,
let's go.
Fucking my goat right here. This is also,
we can't
again,
lie. Yeah, when we said that, we lied.
Yes. Yeah, just so many Asterian vibes here. Dude. Of course I can lie, darling. This is just pure Asterian.
Yep, it's just Astarion. Okay, Tamlin persists about offering to help her write her letter.
Uh-huh.
And then we get more lore dump.
Yeah.
Which we are getting a lot of lore dump here. And I guess I've just not really read a book at this pace, so I don't know if it like I feel like we're getting a lot of lore dump in this batch of chapters.
Well, we did read 10 chapters.
Yeah, but that's like nothing in this book. Like,
listen.
It's not a lot. Whatever. Okay, so we learned that 500 years ago, fairies and mortals were friends.
Yes.
Friends enough that some fae or fairy fought in wars or fought in a war on the humans' behalf. In the war between the mortals and the fae, there were fairies that fought for the mortals.
Yep.
And there's a great conversation, really good character building conversation for Tamlin here. He admits that he would have fought on the side of the humans. Yeah. He would go to war and die for anybody to fight against slavery and tyranny.
This was my favorite chapter of the bunch, by the way.
Oh,
because it was just like banger interaction after banger interaction. The Alice stuff, the of course we can fucking lie from Lucian.
Yes.
And then the actual like, hey, this is great character building for Tamlin, as well as lore dump conversation between Feyre and Tamlin is like, all this is fantastic stuff.
Yeah. He says that some fae mourned when the solution was to separate mortals and the fae. And my note here is, okay, Tam kind of rules, man.
Yeah, Tam shot way up in these 10 chapters in my book. Not only because he's super hot, but because of, like you said, like there's so much good here. What started this interaction I want to touch on, by the way, is he has her list. He fished her list of words she didn't like understand or was unable to pronounce out of the trash. And he asks her about it. By the way, there's a great line here where he asks her about the Suriel, and he's like surprised. He says, "You actually snared the Suriel, a human girl." And she kind of smiles, gives him a cheeky smile, and she says, "Is it supposed to be hard?" And I'm like, something's fucking hard right now.
I'm fucking hard right now.
Anyway, so he asks her about this list of words, and she's like so embarrassed about this.
Yeah.
She just wants to curl up and die. And he's so honestly, genuinely kind about it. He asks her if this is a poem about murdering me and then burning my body just because of the words that she didn't understand, which is very good. And she, you know, she's trying to like make excuses to him about, listen, I can't do these things because everything I ever did was for keeping my family safe and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, listen, I'm not insulting you. He's like, I'm trying to help you. And she's like, I don't want your pity. And this is where he asks her, well, what about a friend?
Yes.
And then she snaps back with, can fairies even be friends with mortals? And this is where, like you said, he's like, yeah, 500 years ago, enough fairies were friends with mortals that they went to war on their behalf. And yeah, he was too young. But I love that line you said, where is it here, where basically he will always fight. If he had been old enough, he would always fight against tyranny and slavery. And I'm like, let's fucking go, Tam. That's my guy now.
Yeah. Tam's killing it.
Tam is killing it.
Yeah.
Like
so,
I thought he was okay in our first episode, the first 8 chapters. I was like, he seems all right. But damn, these chapters, fuck, dude.
Right. What's this has been sitting in the back of my mind, like ever since Dom told me that his nickname is Tampon, and I don't know if that's her nickname for him or like a community ACOTAR fan base nickname for him. I hate
that.
If people don't like I mean, obviously we're
very early.
We're very early, but part of me also wonders, is this just like the male gaze here? Like you and I love him because we're like, the dude, like he's a fucking guy. He's a man.
He is a man.
Yeah, dude.
But also, again, like there's legit more to him than that.
Yeah.
And
yeah, for sure. But what I'm saying is that the majority of the fan base of this series, is that what they're wanting in their male characters? You know, is that what they're wanting in their like interests?
I don't know.
Or are they wanting like, I don't know, I don't know. I guess I don't really know how to articulate what I'm saying, but
no, I think I know what you mean, but yeah, I don't know how to phrase it either. I stopped calling him Tammy this episode because I'm like, he deserves better than that.
Tam's a good nickname.
Tam is like, I mean, I think Lucian calls him that a couple times, and I'm like, I will ride for Tam because this guy is winning me over. He's obviously winning Feyre over as well. I can't think, like, obviously aside from the characters who we're supposed to hate, like Nesta, like I've liked all the characters genuinely. Like I like Feyre, I like Lucian, I like Alice. Like,
you like her dad?
Well, I said besides from the ones we're supposed to hate. Like
okay.
Nesta and her dad.
Gotcha. Okay.
So no, I just think she's doing a good job of making likable and sympathetic characters. I don't know if it's specific to, like you said, our point of view, that we want this burly, I want Henry Cavill to cradle me in his strong arms.
With his claws.
With his claws. Dude, there's a point in here where he cuts his face. He's so surprised at something she said. I'm like, okay, my mans, you got to learn how to control those claws better.
Dude, that's like getting a random boner, dude.
That's what I'm saying. In a moment of passion, you might accidentally kill Feyre because that's gonna happen.
He might pull the old what's his fucking name from Baldur's Gate, the druid.
Pull the
old Halsin.
Yeah. Goes full bear in the heat of the passion. That's what I'm saying. I was like, that's maybe my one critique of Tam in these chapters is like, learn how to control your claws better, guy.
Yeah.
That could go very badly if you cut your own face just because you're surprised at something she says. What happens when she does other things to you? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So anyway, shit, we got way off track here.
So we get some information about how exactly he has helped her family.
Yes. Okay. Yes. I didn't want to talk about this.
He tells her that they're being provided for, like with food and money, and their memories were altered, so they are not aware that she was taken by a fairy.
Yep.
And that he's also kind of embedded in their new memories some warning signs.
Yes, because that's her big thing about writing the letter, is she wants to warn them.
Yes.
And he's like, don't worry, it's taken care of.
And he says that they will know the signs and they will leave. They will know to flee once they see these signs.
Right.
And she kind of questions, like, well, what did you tell them? Like, did you tell them about everything? And he's like, no, just they will be able to recognize the warning signs and they will flee.
There's a great line in here where he tells her, I wonder if your family realizes it, that everything you've done wasn't about the promise to your mother or for your sake, but for theirs.
Dude, he sees right through her.
Yeah.
And is like, this wasn't about the vow. This is about you love your family, and that's okay.
Because we wondered about that in the first episode. Like, what has her so set on this vow? And it's just, she does actually love them.
And it's
which good on her, because they're real shit.
I was about to say, like, it's got to be difficult, and it's got to be like just kind of like a vehicle to deliver her love, right? Yeah. Like,
yes,
she's struggling with how to display that or call it what it is, because it's just not prevalent in her family.
Right.
Like,
yeah, no, for sure.
It's good. It's deep, man. It's good. Like, I really like how much just like introspective info we're getting.
Character depth here.
Yes.
Because there's another note I have where after Tam says that he would gladly fight against slavery and tyranny no matter who he was defending, Feyre thinks to herself, I wouldn't do that. Like,
yes.
I would just be like, whatever side is going to win, basically. That's my team.
And it's
just for safety's sake. And she's like, I didn't even realize that was a weakness.
What's wild is like, yeah, and she thinks it's a weakness, but like, it shows their privilege too. Like,
yes,
the
true.
difference in their privilege. Like, he has the leverage and the status to take the noble route, where her
it's
life is just survival.
Survival.
Like,
yep.
So it's really, really, really good character depth.
This chapter was genuinely excellent.
Yes.
Like, there's I know there's stuff we're even missing in here that I wanted to touch on, but we can't be here for forever. But because
too late.
Yeah, true. There's also a note here where she's partially grateful about the glamour that he's done to their arrogance, but also she's mad about it because she sees it as arrogance, fairy arrogance, where she's like that's a violation of them by altering their memories too. But then she also is like, he had done more than I could. My family might have ignored my letter entirely. Had I known he possessed those abilities, I might have even asked him to do it. But then, yeah, she's still a little bit like slightly resentful about it too. Like, just very good, deep character stuff for honestly both of them.
Yes. It's a great interaction, man.
Yes. And then she asks him for supplies to paint. And it's just, it's so predictable, but I don't even care. Because these two were just adorable.
Yes. Then he mentions the gallery.
Yeah, he asks to show her the gallery.
Well, actually, first, he says, you can work wherever you want.
Yeah.
Wherever you want to paint in this place, it's all yours. It's too clean anyway.
Yeah, true. These two. I think my theory is wrong. I don't think I think I said he painted all those shit. He's like, oh no, I closed that fucking gallery. No one was going to use it.
Yes.
So either he's really no-selling his painting ability, or I was way off on
You know
that.
what? Actually, it could be it's not that he's no-selling it. It's just simply like, maybe he did used to paint, but since he inherited the lands now, like, it's not a priority.
Could
like,
be.
Gotta hide that, tuck that part of him away, you know?
Right. I'll still hold on to hope that he painted
that he's the painter.
Yeah.
So yeah, she asks for the paint and brushes. Tamlin's very intrigued by this. He gives her permission. Then he mentions the gallery. He wants to show it to her.
Mm-hmm.
What else does he want to show her?
Let me show you my gallery, babe.
And she can feel it down in her plums.
Dude, she can feel it all in her loins. I have the exact quote. He smiled at me still, broadly and without restraint or hesitation. Isaac can never smile at me like that.
Hey, hit us with some ASMR on this.
Isaac can never made my breath catch just a little bit. The feeling was startling enough that I walked out, grasping the crumpled paper in my pocket, as if doing so could somehow keep that answering smile from tugging on my lips. Girl, you got it bad. Let's fucking go. Just jump into bed together already. These two are adorable. I love them.
Yeah.
Then she has nightmares.
Yeah. Okay, so we got 2 more chapters.
Yeah. These are short though.
They're decently short. There's some stuff we'll need to talk about in chapter 18 for sure, but let's run through this pretty quickly because we are running long.
Yeah, we are. I said we would.
I know, but we also want to make this digestible for
fair
for you peoples at home.
Pale faceless woman. This has to be the her, right? Or at least her manifestation of this her figure they keep referring to.
Yeah, I think so.
Some prophesizing abilities, I don't know, that she's got going on. I don't know what's going on here.
Ooh.
But because like this pale faceless woman is like torturing her more or less.
Right.
So this is the her 100%, right? Is that also your feeling? Okay.
Yeah, I mean that's what I thought reading it.
And then we get more of the her. Tam brings in a wounded summer court fairy that was dumped over the border, and he keeps repeating, "She took my wings.
She took my wings. She took my wings."
Yeah.
And she does describe his back where his wings were, that it literally looks like they were sawed off.
Yeah. It's gross.
It's pretty fucked. He is dying in their arms.
It's so fucked. Lucian vomits and runs out.
Yes.
Which we find out maybe a little more about later.
Right. I did take note of this. I like that Sarah J. Maas made it a point to comment, I guess, like on how Feyre tells this Fae,
it'll be okay, basically.
It'll be okay. You'll get your wings back. Mm-hmm. And she internally is like, this is like the first like promise I've ever, like false promise I've ever made. And it's just cool to see the changes that are happening in our protagonist. She's definitely feeling ways because of her new environment. She's being able to grow, I think. Not being in a survival mode.
Yes, for
mindset.
sure. Yeah. No, 100%.
Another great thing. Just to finish off this chapter,
he asks her,
so
like, why?
So one thing first is Tamlin does make mention that he could have at one point used his healing magic to be able to heal wounds that were this major.
Yeah, right.
But implies that he can't anymore. We have to assume that it's because of the blight. Then he says a prayer and sends him off, and he dies. I like that from Tamlin. It's a good show of character. And then the best show of character is Tamlin goes to bury the fairy alone. He's like, this is something I have to do.
Have to do alone specifically, because she wants to come with him.
Right.
And whether it's because he does feel like he needs to do it alone, or he is concerned, he mentions it's too dangerous for her at night. Either way, could be a little of both.
So we'll see. There's another thing is like, I partially wonder if he has something to do with...
That could be as well. Like some special burial ritual or something else, perhaps.
No. I'm saying I think he might feel guilty.
Oh.
Like I wonder if Tamlin
I see
in some way has been a catalyst in things that have happened. that is causing stuff like this. Just how personal and how defeated she's been noticing that he's been feeling for all this stuff. I just feel like he's connected to it in some other way than we've been shown.
That's a good catch. I'm glad you said that. I think you're probably right. Because I was just viewing it as like, maybe there's some burial ritual he has to do that a human shouldn't know about. Or maybe it is just he's worried about her being outside at night. But that's a good catch. I like that thought. But yeah, he asks her why. He says, you dislike our kind on a good day. Even after Andras, so why? And she tells him, because I wouldn't want to die alone.
Oh,
because I'd want someone to hold my hand until the end and a while after that. That's something everyone deserves, human or fairy. And here's where this hurt me. This got me in my soul. She says, I regret what I did to Andras. I said the words so strangely they were no more than a whisper. I regret that there was so much hate in my heart. I wish I could undo it, and I'm sorry. So very sorry. And I had to get that whole section there because I was like, that's fucking good shit.
It's so good, man. Dude.
That's fucking good shit.
Great. It's great.
And that's the entirety of chapter 17. It's a pretty quick one, but very impactful. All
right.
Last chapter here.
Get a little romance.
This is much more pleasant than that chapter.
Getting whiplash from this shit, dude.
Yes, truly. All three of them go on a quaint little ride together. This beautiful, beautiful Glen. She can't think about how crazy it is.
And Lucian is just like cracking up that he's like, it's a Glen.
Yeah, She no-sells it too, by the way, because Tamlin's like, do you like it? And she's like, yes.
Yeah. All right.
Yes. She literally says yes. And he's like, just yes? Come on. What does it take to impress you? Anyway, that's funny. And then they have a very fun, cheeky little interaction with each other. She says, would you like me to grovel with gratitude for bringing me here, High Lord? And then he's like, so the Suriel told you nothing important, did it? Because she did not tell him that she knew this.
Right. Uh-huh.
And I love this. She says, he also said that you like being brushed, and if I'm a clever girl, I might train you with treats. Which I'm like, shades of things to come.
50 shades of things to come.
50 shades of fisty all up in here.
Dude, what a throwback.
Tamlin thinks this is hilarious. Lucian too, he's like, I might die of surprise. You made a joke. And she is cheeky as shit with him too. She says, you don't want to know what the Suriel said about you. And Tamlin is just like, I'd pay good money to hear what the Suriel thinks of Lucian. It's just a fun interaction. Yeah. They're obviously becoming
friendly,
much friendlier all the way around. And I think that's great.
Then Tam is like, hey,
let's leave the third wheel behind. And yeah.
And I for sure thought it was coming.
Not this soon.
No. I mean, I just was like, maybe not like a full blown like sex scene, but I for sure thought there would be like some more, like something physical, like maybe a kiss or something like that. Or
Zach, as the main spokesman for edging, you really thought they would let you off the hook this early? Come on. Well, they gotta edge you longer than that.
It's just, I didn't think they were going to have sex. I just thought that there was going to be some more romance.
Well, I mean, this is faster than honestly I thought they would progress. He immediately just starts taking off his clothes. And it's like, hey, let's go swimming in starlight because that's not fucking romantic enough.
That's fucking sick, by the way.
It's sick as hell.
It's so cool.
I love how also she's like, how? He's like, I don't fucking know. No one told me. No one bothered to tell me how that works. Which is great. I love that the author is just like, it sounds cool. Don't ask.
Yes.
Don't fucking ask me.
Just go with it, man.
Just
go
with it.
Go with it. It
They're
works, right?
Swimming in starlight.
Okay. This is what I wanted to talk about. Aside from the romance here.
Yes.
We get some info on Lucian.
Yes.
And
this is good stuff.
This is good stuff. Good stuff. So we learn that Lucian has endured some shit.
Yes,
and
he
I will
has.
paraphrase, but he is the youngest son of the High Lord of the Autumn Court.
Mhm.
He's the youngest of 7 brothers, and it's a very, very cutthroat family.
Because the strongest inherit the title, not
Yes.
the oldest.
And I think that's that's just how the Autumn Court is.
No, I think he specifically said that's how all the high courts are.
Oh, okay. Maybe I misunderstood that. Okay. So
I'm
yes,
pretty sure.
the most powerful inherits it, not the eldest. But thankfully, Lucian never really cared about it.
Lucian didn't care. He didn't want it.
Instead, he falls in love with a lower fae. And Daddy was not okay with that. So not okay with that he had her executed in front of him while his brothers held him down and made him watch.
It's fucked up.
It's fucked up.
This is like a Tywin with Tyrion, but turned up to 11.
Yes.
Like, actually, I don't know which is worse, honestly.
I kind of feel like the Tywin one is maybe a little worse.
It might actually be worse.
To watch your lover get ravaged and then killed. Yeah, come on.
Wait, they didn't kill her, though. That's the difference.
Oh, they didn't kill her?
He sent her on a way with all the gold.
That's right.
Gold for like every Lannister, right?
You're right.
Or
You're right.
like
You're
that.
right. You're right. You're right. You're right.
So both shitty. Let's just agree on that.
Okay. This caused Lucian to abandon his title and leave.
Mm-hmm.
3 of his brothers saw this as an opportunity to eliminate some competition now that he was no longer protected by his status.
Yep.
So they began to hunt him. 3 went after him. Yeah, 3 went after him. Only 1 returned.
Those fuckers thought.
And Feyre asks, he killed 2 of them? And Tamlin's like, well, he killed 1.
Well,
I killed the other.
Hold up now. I killed 1. I'm pretty cool.
Yeah.
Have you checked me now? I'm pretty cool, actually. I know you've checked me out, actually.
He says he killed 1 and I killed the other. Lucian had crossed, or they had all crossed into his lands. And being the newfound ruler of these lands, or High Lord of these lands, it was his decision on what to do with trespassers threatening peace.
He said, I could do what I wanted.
And then he's like, dude, you want to check me out? And then starts getting undressed to go swim.
Yeah, one more quick note here on Lucian. He says, after this happened, he claimed Lucian as my own. This is Tamlin. Named him emissary since he'd already made many friends across the courts and had always been good at talking to people, while I can find it difficult.
Right.
He's been here ever since. And then, yes, he's like, hey, let's take our clothes off. And Feyre is like, rises to the challenge. She's like, you're not going to embarrass me, bitch. I'll embarrass you. And meanwhile, Tam is probably just thinking, you've activated my trap card by doing that.
Gotcha.
Also shit. I did have one more thing about Lucian. She asks him, as an emissary, has he ever had dealings with his father or his brothers again? And Tamlin tells her, yes, his father has never apologized, and his brothers are too frightened of me, he has to throw that in there again, to risk harming him.
Right.
But he has never forgotten what they did to her or what his brothers tried to do to him, even if he pretends that he has. So Lucian been through some shit.
Got some baggage.
A deeper character than he initially seems, which I love and appreciate.
Sure, absolutely.
And then then they get naked and jump in, and we get some spicy. And
yeah, we do get a little bit of info on Feyre and her family and how they lost their wealth.
True. Backstory.
She shares. I'll make this super quick. Basically, like, they inherited a lot of debt from like several generations, and once Dad became like the head of the house, he kind of like bet everything on one like shipment that unfortunately did not make it because it was a very risky shipment. So they lost basically everything. and got fucked by the debtors, by the debt collectors.
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically it. Their remaining wealth lasted them about 3 years before they were forced to, before she was forced
hunting.
to start hunting and stuff to try and provide for them. I have this note here, and I feel like I might be wrong. I can't remember if this was Lucien or Tamlin, but my note says that Lucien was intrigued that her first shot was to free the Suriel.
Yes. So she, as they're writing back, she basically confronts him about, like, hey, thanks for warning me about the Suriel, by the way. Like,
right, yeah.
Like, listen, in his defense, like, she was pressing him for that information,
sure.
And he was being very cheeky about it, but she's basically like, hey, you didn't properly prepare me for what was fucking going on. And, but she kind of does it good-naturedly. She says, I understand I'm a human who killed your friend, who now lives in your house, and you have to deal with me. So I understand. And he's quiet for a moment, but then he tells her, Tam told me that your first shot was to save the Suriel's life, not your own. And she says it seemed like the right thing to do. And the look he gave me was more contemplative than any he'd given me before. I know far too many high fae and lesser fairies who wouldn't have seen it that way or bothered. So already he is like kind of viewing humans, at least this specific human, Feyre here, in a different light. Where he's like, she made a choice to do a good thing.
Right.
When other fairies would not have made that choice. And then he even owns up to something else. He tells her that he heard her scream and briefly hesitated before he came running, and he feels like he broke his word by doing that.
Yes.
And he gives her a knife and says, please don't bury it in my back.
He gives her the hunting knife. Which
yeah.
I think is it the one that she used to kill?
I don't know if it specifically says the same one. He gives her a nice, very fancy hunting knife at the very least. But just really good interactions between these characters, like kind of up and down through these chapters, Zachary. Shit. I enjoyed the hell out of that, and I think I enjoyed it more as we discussed it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, there was a lot to like in this batch. We talked about this a little bit at the top of the episode and throughout it, but I am just floored at how much I'm enjoying the efficiency of her writing. I feel like every beat is like, this is useful, this is purposeful, this is...
Efficiency is a great word. Yeah. She gets right to it. Yeah. There's really good world building and character building, but it's all meaningful. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
There's little wasted.
It really works in this situation because their scenario, their situation in general is like, it's not one where they're just going to be sitting around having a lot of conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Like it is shown as like there is this weird tension that they're not like just hanging out and shooting the shit, Mm-hmm. So like, so that's why we don't get a lot of that filler conversation.
Yeah.
So it works, like I want it to be known that like, if there was more exploration with the world and exploration between like casual dialogue, I would not hate that. Like I would still cherish that just as much because it just gives you more opportunity to see characters be themselves.
For sure.
But
and we're still very early, Baron.
For sure.
What? Maybe a third of the way into this book?
Yeah.
So yeah.
But so far what it's been has been, hey, I am going to clearly establish who these characters are, what their motives are, how they think, how they interact, while also painting a great picture of like their motives and where they're from. Mm-hmm. It's just been great. It's been excellent writing and pacing for me.
Yeah. Let me put it this way. There has been way more progress in these relationships between these characters than I thought there would be at this point.
Yeah.
Like, and that's really saying something, considering I don't feel like the characters have been neglected. It's like, oh, well, you didn't earn this yet. Like, that's not, I don't feel that way at all. But also, like, I'm surprised that we're already to this point where they are becoming way more friendly and comfortable with each other, and it feels right. Like, it does feel earned.
You know what the only thing that it could be neglecting us of is, like, I mean, I have to assume that this will go in a direction where, like, things will likely get pretty dark. There will be some, like, much higher stakes at something towards probably the end of this book. That just obviously is, like, we're reading fantasy, so I'm sure that that's what's going to happen. It does neglect us the chance to see, like, one of these two early established characters, Tamlin and Lucian, to make a monumental decision on, like, hey, I do actually care for you, because we're already seeing it so early, which I feel like that could lend to, like, a good climax. But I'm not upset at what I'm seeing by any means. I don't feel like it's forced or too heavy-handed. It's just it's working.
The one other thing I'll say is that it's I feel like a lot of its efficiency and how we've gotten to this point already is because there have legitimately been very few characters. And that's not necessarily a criticism.
Sure.
But I would like to, going forward, and I'm sure we will, is explore more, expand the cast. Because even I'm thinking I have, like, only a couple people I can think of for our next segment here. Because there is just a lot of focus on these three main characters, especially.
Yes, 100%.
And I do hope, again, very early, this isn't a criticism, but I'm just saying I hope we get more, expand the cast, but that's probably why we feel like, hey, this is very efficient. They're really moving these relationships and building these characters. It's because there's basically just a couple of them. But
that's a good call out.
Are you ready for who be courtin'?
Dude, I almost said who be thronin'.
I mean, it's a very easy thing to fall into. I have it written here, which is the only thing that saved me. So this is obviously where we rank our MVPs of the chapters, the section that we ran through last week. The first 8 chapters, we put Feyre at 1, the unnamed mercenary girl that we loved. That was a badass at 2, Alice at 3, Lucian at 4, and Tammy, we're changing that. He deserves better than Tammy.
He does,
and definitely better than Tampon. To 4th. Let me see if I can remember how to do this, Zach. Okay, right off the bat. Hold on, let me delete these.
This is a good opportunity to use the back part of this episode to remind you guys that you guys can follow us on our social media at Mythkeepers. And you can go to our website, check out our fun new merch and whatever we have going on our website at mythkeeperspod.com.
Hell yeah, well done.
And you can support the show, guys, if you guys want to contribute to keeping the show running and get a little peek behind the curtain at Scotty and I's fun conversations, extra bonus episodes, which are coming. We're going to be doing some fun stuff over there. Actually, Scott, we should maybe let the people know that the highly requested viewing party of...
You're going to tease that already?
I'm going to tease it, man. The highly requested viewing party of the Fantastic Beasts films, which if you have been with us for a long time, you know that one of our first journeys together was reading the Harry Potter books. Scott needs to watch those terrible movies, and he's been saying that he has been itching to do it because it sounds like fun.
Sounds funny.
And we have decided it will be some Patreon exclusive content, so that might be another reason for you guys to hop over to the Patreon and support us there.
For sure. Listen, if you want to and are able, we would love you to help support us on Patreon. If you can't and you just want to listen to us, we love that support. That's also, as well. So
yeah,
that's also great, and we love you there. But yes, we have not recorded that yet. I don't know when or how that is going to happen. But you will get to see. I hopefully, ideally, live reacts as I watch the Fantastic Beasts movies, which I think could be very funny. I will have to really step up my reaction game because like I can remember like live texting you as I watched some of the Harry Potter movies.
Yes.
But I don't normally like emote that much, when I'm watching things. So I'll have to really like, I'm not going to make things up, obviously, but
sure,
I'll just have to have a different mindset, I guess.
That'll be fun.
Coming soonish, hopefully, to the Patreon. Zach, I have a very strong feeling on who I want to be number one.
I have a feeling we have the same choice for number one.
You say it. Who is it?
It's Tamlin.
It's fucking Tam. It's my dude Tam. He fucking killed it this section.
Yeah, truly.
Oh, do we want to give him his full name?
I think he deserves it.
Earned it. He kind of earned it. I do like Tam as a nickname a lot, though.
Tam is a good nickname.
Second place for me is also pretty easy.
I think it's Feyre.
I think it's Feyre. I think, listen, if she hadn't had, or if Tamlin hadn't had such an incredibly strong batch of chapters, it would be her again.
You might need to enlarge that.
Yeah, I'm working on it. That might make Tam's a little smaller too. Yeah, I think she was great. Like her fighting off the Naga. Like I said, I love how she approaches her shortcomings, as Tamlin calls them, like head on and tries to better herself. I think that is a phenomenal attitude. I like a lot of the insights we got into her, emotions and feelings were great. Like I'm loving these two.
Yeah.
Third place, I think this is pretty easy. It's Lucian for me.
Yeah, it's Lucian.
I think this is going to be a pretty easy list, honestly.
I'm going to pull out a sleeper pick. Well, not a sleeper, but I don't know if this makes a whole lot of sense because it's not going to be a character that will likely ever come back, but I really liked the interaction with the Suriel.
The Suriel, I was going to suggest the Suriel for fifth, although I can see it here. The only other one I have in my mind is Alice. Even though it was a small interaction with her and Feyre, I really liked it.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't know who else we would put.
Yeah. I mean, I'm fine with Alice and then the Suriel.
I'm fine with either placing. Do you feel strongly one way or the other?
For me, it's like the lore and information stuff is what I care about more. So for me, it would be the Suriel.
Okay, I'm totally fine with that. So that's the Suriel at 4, and then Alice at 5. Are we forgetting anyone?
I mean, unless it's like the winged or the wingless fucker, or
right. Jesus, he died. You don't have to call him the wingless fucker.
Or like the Naga. Yeah, no, I don't think there's any.
Yeah, I don't think there's any other characters that I can think about in these chapters. Yeah, I think a lot of these lists might be pretty cut and dry, unlike Game of Thrones.
It's not a lot of characters, but it will still be interesting to see at the end of this, like who, like their rankings, like who was more consistent on top.
True. Okay, and we talk about it plenty. We don't during the episode. We don't have to drag this out. For this week's Who Be Courtin', that is Tamlin in first place, Feyre in second place, Lucian in third, the Suriel in fourth, and Alice in
Suriel.
Fifth. Suriel. Great performances all around. We don't rate these chapters, right? We decided we weren't doing that.
No, we're not doing that.
I don't have to think about that anymore. But if I was rating them, it'd be very high. I enjoyed
it. Would be
a lot.
Very. That one chapter, dude, with their interaction
16,
in the study,
I think,
was just fucking fantastic. Yeah, it was 16. Yeah, that was really
stuff.
good, man. Hey, we know that a lot of you guys are listening, are reading the series for the first time along with us.
Let's see how well you handle this time. You always way overcomplicated.
My first ask is just, I want to know if if you guys are having a similar experience with the first 16 chapters that Scott and I have,
18.
Or, yeah, excuse me, 18 chapters. There's the complication bit there.
Yeah.
If you guys are having a similar experience, if you guys are liking the same things or not liking the same things, which there's not very much to not like, but
in your opinion,
in your opinion, we want to open up the conversation, get a little bit of dialogue going here. And I think to help that, we are having some of this chatter in the Discord, which I don't think we've talked about the Discord much. The Discord is currently invite only, so please, if you guys want to interact with that, interact with us or with other listeners chatting about this and many other things as well. We've got forums in there for whatever series you guys want. Shoot us a DM or an email and ask for the Discord link. We will get you guys in there and we'll open up that conversation because I am genuinely curious. I am surprised at how much I'm liking this so far, and I want to know if you guys feel the same.
Hell yeah.
Next episode will be the next 10 chapters.
The next 10 chapters.
And I won't talk about anything other than that because then it's going to get confusing. So 10 more chapters for next time.
Fun of the way I talked throughout this episode, Mr. Can't figure out his shit.
Hey, fuck you.
Thank you guys so much for joining us. We will see you next time.
Bye.